guys, welcome back to the channel. I know we're going to take a little bit of a break off of my primary chopper here and going to get to work on Hillbilly Creations mini chopper build. One task he set to me at the moment is to do an inspection and possibly repairs on his chopper tank. Right here. You can see right about here that we actually got a really good dent here. We got plenty of Bondo. Underneath of here looks pretty rusted out, but still seems relatively solid. So if there are any holes in it, I will weld them up. Big holes, I'll patch them up. And I'm just going to get this thing right down to bare metal. And to do that, I'm going to use the trusty angle grinder. I'm going to start with the paint stripping wheel, which is kind of like a bit of a spongy texture to it. And this is awesome because it doesn't actually rip away at the steel like a flap disc would. And for the tighter corners, I'm going to use a standard wire wheel. So we'll get that loaded up and get you guys on time lapse, and we're going to quickly start stripping this thing down to bare metal and see what we have to work with. Okay, what's up? During the paint removal process, shut up. I think I might have found my first hole I gotta fix up. You see right? Oh yeah, get the lighting. Yeah, right there. That is no bueno, buddy. I noticed that. Could you see? I marked down here where the TIG, so I'm gonna have to re-TIG this whole seam. See, they tried, but I think they were relying mostly on the Bondo to keep this from leaking any gasoline. So I want to go over the whole thing. It's similar on the other side here. Of course, there's a more dents on here I need to fill up, but before I do that, I'm going to run my TIG weld all the way along these seams here instead of just these spot welds. But we're almost done. We just gotta get the rest of the front done and the front panels, and then I can hit it all with the wire wheel again, get into the nooks and crannies, plan out how I'm going to do the inner tunnel. But like I said, finding that first spot, I need a weld right up here. Don't know how I'm going to hold this. Yeah, right here. There we go. There we go. But welding that up, oh, there we go, get you guys on camera. Getting that welded up is going to be a priority. All right, we'll get back here. Okay, so gonna snag to my bibs. Okay, so we got the paint off of this. I can still, you can see some of the lighting here. There's some dents, but like I said, a thin layer of Bondo will clean that up, no problem. A little bit of thin Bondo, sand it, Bondo, sand it, just to make everything nice and flush. One of the first things I'm gonna have to do is I did confirm, like I said earlier. Oh, what's up with this? Just that hole right here, I'm just going to patch back in with a TIG welder. And there's very little I can really do down the channel here. Like I said, the best I could, but I don't have anything that can actually reach down here, unfortunately, which is a pain. But yeah, so right, the first thing I want to weld up first before I bust out the TIG welder is reinforce this gas mount tab. This is the only one in the rear. And you got the two under studs, kind of like my gas tank in a way. So I'm gonna run a MIG across there, kind of patch that all up, make it a little stronger. Keep you guys in focus. Patch it up, make it a little stronger, and then I'll bust out the TIG. And essentially the welding, this requires like next to no welding, which is really big relief. And then I just gotta take out a can of black paint and just give it a nice light coat for now, and just until we know what, again, the paint scheme we're going to do with it, the final details we're going to do with it, which will come down in a later episode. So if you guys been liking what you've been seeing so far, make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And I don't know why I keep saying hit the comments button. You write in the comments any ideas of a paint scheme. Like I said, this is that very sharp curve to it. So what kind of paint scheme would you guys think would look best on a tank like this? So I get the welds all at the ready and reinforce some of these tabs. So I hit this fucking corner with almost everything I got, with the TIG and the MIG at all settings, at the most bare minimal settings. Anytime I cross over from the main body to this little triangle panel, it just blows another hole out, no matter what setting I did. To the point where I was heating up the TIG wire too hot and melted prematurely to, like I said, it was blocking more and more holes. I thought I had at one point, put some water in, test it. It just poured out again, so I'm literally just going to cut this whole corner off and replace it with some thicker steel. I don't know why. I guess when you're in a factory you can get away with it, but why do you gotta use such thin ass material when building your gas tank, man? I do not understand it. My gas tank is actually pretty thick, about minimum 18 gauge. This is way too thin. So I'm going to cut this whole corner off, dig out some thicker sheet metal, reshape it to the point here and a point up here, and fix it that way, because trying to patch in the hole is a lot harder than actually making a whole new fucking patch. So once I get this off, I'll be right back with you guys. Jeez. Okay, so now we got that section cut out of the gas tank there. I just made myself a new template, a little bit bigger in scale, so that way I can kind of grind it down and fine tune it into shape. And the material we're using is 16 gauge mild steel, which is going to be a little harder to shape manually, but the grind and cut will still be just as easy as anything else. So we're going to make our template cut just a little bit proud from original. Good thing about sheet metal work, it doesn't exactly have to be exact at the first cut. Always give yourself a little extra room to manipulate. There we go. Cut into that. Cut into that. That. Yeet, yeet. Yeet, yeet. Yeet, yeet. Yeet, yeet. So, got myself a square of some kind. Hold up against here. Because in order to cut this out nice with the least amount of problems, I'm going to cut it out the rectangular perimeter, as you can see right here. So that way I can just take this piece, move it up to the vise, and grind it down, bring it to the bench vise, and refine it, and then I can finally tack it onto here. Then I can make the templates for the point it comes into. Which to me, my personal style, is stupid, but this is Hillbilly's gas tank, and this is he wants to use that gas tank, so we're going to be able to use it. I just wish it wasn't this big of a problem. I thought it was going to be just a little spot welds, grind it down, Bondo paint, send it back. Now I got to refabricate the entire fucking corner. Okay, so we're just a little toasty. We have our initial plate. As you see, it's really big, but it's basically what I'm using this for. It's going to create a reinforced perimeter for the gas to stay, and then I can make, again, out of that sheet metal, the points that comes up to it. You can see right here, it comes up to a point. So one thing I'm going to have to take a measurement is how long that point is, but that's 1, 2, 3 triangles that I can just shape out individually and then shape them together, because it looks like this was just stamped out. But we're going to reinforce this thing with some proper 16 gauge steel, because that way I can focus my weld on the 16 gauge and pass it over lightly onto the fucking 22 gauge 22, 24 gauge. Like I said, my gas tank on my chopper is 16 gauge minimum, or 18 gauge minimum. This is fucking paper, tissue paper of metal. Alright, welcome back, y'all. It's been a couple of days for me, but just a second for use. But I ran out welding wire. I had to pick up some more quickly, and we finally got this patch. Well, at least this, patch all in. Just to be on the safe side, where me and my grandfather, he's going to help me out with this build. We're actually going to use what's known as fiberglass body filler. And what that does, if there happen to be any pinholes along this seam here, which is also going to be patched over with a new triangle. So we got that layer plus this layer covering this hole. It's going to be covered by fiberglass, and the fiberglass does not get affected like normal body filler does when exposed to gasoline. It actually resists it. So that way, in case there is still any pinholes in here, it won't seep out, affect the paint, and cause any damage to the bike and to the rider. So that's just the precaution we're going to take with this. It's got to flatten this down with a flap this a little bit more, make it smoother. And then I can make some easy templates off of this panel, that panel, and this panel. Or maybe try making this one, making the two panels. I don't know yet. We'll get to you once we get that decided. But once we finish up this, all we have to do is do an error quick inspection, because I was pretty sure I saw a pinhole leak down on this side. Which again, I could probably just hit, which I thought was right about there, but we can hit that with the welder again, patch it up. And guys, I'm not a big fan of this thin ass steel, man. It makes it so hard to weld on, because like I said, I only have that 16 gauge sheet metal right here. But enough yammering, I'm gonna make some templates and I'll get back to you once we have this game plan set up for this side. Okay guys, so we're back after making the templates here. I labeled them all differently from A, B, C, from this corner here. So I made 3 separate triangles instead of trying to shape this all out, because when they first made this, I'm pretty sure they had some kind of die stamp. So I got all 3 pieces, and I'll name them A, B, C, D up. So I know the C is going to go on the very top here. B is going to go somewhat near the back. And it's all going to be held together by A. So what I'm probably going to do, and mostly they're going to be held together by 90-degree angles, is I'm just going to try tacking them up with the TIG welder, just until I can get all these joints in unison, so that way I can kind of shape them later, and then I can then hit it with the MIG. So it's going to be kind of radical, but hopefully I can replicate this corner onto here without Bryson knowing that. Well, Hillbilly is going to know I did all this, because you're going to watch this video. But hopefully I can get everything to look original and stronger. So at least one corner is going to be a lot stronger than the last. But it won't leak gas. That's the most important thing. We're not going to be leaking gas. That's my promise. And like I said, we got some Bondo to cover up the details. So move this off to the side. Going to get the TIG welder all started up, and we get to play around, bouncing all out. We'll get back to you once I have it all TIG together. Okay, so you can see, we do have the other triangle back into place. I am going to have to grind down a lot of these splash over. And like I said, most of the stuff we can fill in later with that fiberglass body filler. And the last thing I need to touch on to was somewhere around here. Yeah, I see it right around there. So I was going to run a quick bead down here and a bead down over there. Just seal in that little gas tank mount. Yeah, I just gotta hit the flap disc on this, smooth it all out. And next time you see me, we'll hopefully have the fiberglass out and ready. We can get this thing painted up soon. Just at the primer stage. Like I said, we haven't finalized on the gas color he wants, but stay tuned. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and throw down in the comments. Get it chatted up in there about any advice, recommendations, tips, tricks on welding ultra thin gas tanks, because I don't like it one bit. I'd much rather have it made out of thicker steel than this shitty thin, but what's done is done, and we're already moving on ahead. We're adapting, we're overcoming. Alright guys, so now that we got, it's been a few days for me, the welding on this done, now it's going to be doing some body work. We're going to seal up all the weld lines and everything with some Bondo plastic metal. What this is going to do is going to seal up any kind of fine pinholes and without it affecting the actual Bondo, which will act like a sponge for it and to dissolve. So this is going to protect the Bondo and also the paint on the future project. So but before we get any of that layered onto the gas tank here, we're going to take the old wire wheel and just go over the whole thing, make sure the rust is gone, any scale's gone, dig in right down here the best I can, especially around the gas tank mounts, because I just finished sealing up those. And I'll get you guys on time lapse and music, and we'll get to you once we start to apply the Bondo paste. Alright? Alright, so now that we got the surface cleared up enough, obviously you can probably see in the lighting all the minor imperfections that we're going to have to cover. Most because this is such a thin gauge steel. I'm still complaining about that even now. It's been a couple days. So I'm using the 3M Bondo plastic metal. What this is rated for is both for water, oil, and gasoline. So it won't corrode, absorb, or dissolve over time once it seals. Luckily we got the instructions on the back. Directions, okay. I'll probably read the directions off camera here for you. Let's open her up. Yeah. I'm pretty sure something like this is pretty straightforward to use, but I only had 1 cup of coffee this morning, so I'm not going to risk it and read the instructions. I'll get to you once we start applying. Okay, so now that I got some of the bulk coverage here all done, there's still some imperfections here, but that's all right. I was mostly trying to focus on filling in the deep grooves. And I'm just going to make, this side's already pretty done already. I like that. This side wasn't leaking at all, but I just want to match it. So on this side here, I just got to run it over the bottom side and the front with a bit of a finer, thinner layer. Like I said, I just might have my hands with the gloves on just work a little bit better than the spatula. So that's why I got good old mechanic gloves. So yeah, I'm just gonna run it all over one more time on a bit of a thinner layer. It's already hardening, and that stuff is pretty fast, but for a full cure, it's going to take a couple hours. So while this all cures properly after I put the final layer on, I have to keep showing you all the things I did. Yeah, I just packed both of these, just filled until that was pushing out the back end full of this Bondo stuff. Try one-handed. Come on. There we go. So yeah, once I get that final layer on, sand it down smooth, then we can start busting out the full Bondo. And I'm going to tell you what my game plan is for that. Hey, a quick little update on the Bondoing so far. Much like when we were stripping it all off in the first place, it's going to be... Sorry, that dog. It's going to be another case of we're going to apply a lot of Bondo on here because, like I said, that right side triangle is a little bit more proud than this left side. Like, at initial glance, it doesn't look too bad. But don't forget, once I get this smoothed down... Yeah, actually, you know what? I figure once I get this thing nice and smoothed down, I'll probably spend the rest of the day just planching it all over. I still have enough Bondo to do the side panels, the front panels, and then I can finish it all off by making it look nice and smooth. And then I can start applying the primer, and we can call this job done. So again, I want to thank everyone who has been watching and supporting. Not you. You have not been supportive. You're a troll like an internet hater. Anyways, if you've been liking what you're seeing, hit subscribe, hit that like bell, and also put on that little bell notification because my uploads are going to be a little sporadic. Because I do have parts coming in for my main chopper. That's going to be coming up near shortly because I really want to get this thing done by mid-spring this time. I was supposed to have it done last year like that, but it didn't happen that way. Anyways, get back to you guys once this is ready to be planished over. Hey guys, welcome back. I know the good thing about watching these videos is only a second for you, but in all reality, this was like well over a week's worth of work. From starting the chopping and the grounding and the fabrication, that took like a day or two, but the rest of the week was to make all of this nice and uniform and true. And originally these edges here, hopefully you can kind of pick up my camera, there we go, were originally rounded. And I didn't tell Hillbilly about this, is I got ahead and actually made these edges just a little crisper. Just so when it comes down to paint and what we decide, we have an excellent reference lines to make our design off of, depending on what he wants to go with. This is his tank. The only thing left I have to do on it is to clean up the mountain tabs down here. and then hit the son bitch with some primer, and I can send it back off to Hillbilly. If you want to check out his bike is doing overall, you better head down to his channel. His will be linked down in the description next to my Teespring, Instagram, face, all that stuff. And yeah, I think oh yeah, I still gotta do a little bit of cleanup there, but that's okay. I got some sport petty for that. I don't have to make a whole new batch. But yeah, this was quite the challenge. And before I go on and say, oh, I need to put another layer of Bondo on, I'm gonna, like I said, fix up just this corner and get it ready for paint. And we can conclude this goddamn video, because it's probably going over half an hour for y'all. Alright? Alright guys, so after I got about 4 layers of primer on here, there's still a few minor imperfections which I'm going to take out with a 600 grit. And the high count 600 grit is also water assisted, so I'll just spray a little bit of water on the tank here, add a little bit on the sanding pad, and nice gentle circles. It's going to help smooth out the rough texture being left behind by the primer. And when you start sanding it down, all these thick layers, it'll start clearing up any imperfections. And if there is any, I still got some spot Bondo. I can patch that up right quick. But by looking at it, I think we did a pretty good job with the initial primer layer. A little bit of water on here. I was looking for a standing block like this the entire time, and it was just tucked up in the corner where the table was. Anyway, tools help, y'all. Like that, I'm not applying too much pressure, just enough to keep the sanding block on the metal or on the paint. A few little rough areas. Okay, yeah. So this is about the 6th pass I did with the what is it? The primer, yeah, the primer. And all I have to do right now is give that one last 600 grit sanding, and I can finally get this thing back to hillbilly. And hopefully, probably next time you see it on this channel, I'll probably get in an actual paint job, so stay tuned for that. And I think that's probably what we're going to conclude right here, because this tank took me way too long to do. So I hope you guys liked, enjoyed. So leave a like, leave a comment. I'll read them all, and I try to respond back with all of them best I can. So until next time, cheers y'all.